my point is, I'm going to give you my best bets, and I have two of them. Number one is I like the Thunder. I told you that teams that are big favorites do generally well in the playoffs, 55%, much better as the series goes on. So these are the percentages of nine or greater point favorites, ATS, in the playoffs. Game one, all game ones, there's 79 of them since 2002, 2003 season. 9 point favorites are 57% ATS. Game two, they're 55%. Game three, they're 50%, only 14 games. Game four, they're 63%. Game five, they're 62%, 62 games in that. So that's this sample. It's a big sample. Makes sense that there's a lot more game fives that are this big of favorites than game three or four because you got the higher seeded team, lower seeded team, whatever you want to call it, the better team. Game six is 80% in 5 games, 4-1 ATS. And in game seven, if you're a nine or greater point favorite, we saw this with the Thunder and the Aaron Gordon-less Nuggets, you're 100%, you're 5-0. So you put it all together, you say early series, games one, two, and three, 55%. Late series, huge favorites, games four, five, six, and seven, 90 games, 64% ATS. And I think the numbers speak to the logic that there's going to be a feeling like, wow, this is a long series. This is a 7 game series. This is a 4 game series. This is going to be at least a 6 game series. These teams are probably pretty close. And Bob Myers, after game four, said the one thing we know is, excuse me, the one thing we know is that this is way closer than we expected. Well, okay, it's about a point closer according to the Vegas market. And I think the average fan is like, well, these are even teams. Wow, look out for the Pacers. Anybody, this is a coin toss. I've heard a lot of podcasts say this is a coin toss down the stretch. If you believe that, you should be betting your house on the Pacers because you can get 4-1, 5-1. And if it's a coin toss, you're doing pretty well. I disagree with that. I think the Pacers have played much better than their talent. I think they were the better coach team, had the better plan, executed better down the stretch on balance. But they're about a point closer than I thought, and no more than that. So you get the Thunder, you get the much better team with all of the variance of coaching plans and strategies kind of gone at this point at home with a chance to close it out. They can smell the championship. I'll lay the 9.5 here. That's what I did. But there's a way to hedge against it if you think the Pacers might have a chance, that I also think is going to cash. I think we're going to go 2-0. And that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander under 6.5 assists. You got to lay a little more. Like I said, it's now minus 145. It was minus 125, I believe, if not minus 115 a day ago when I gave it out to my clients. Um, I knew it was minus 25. I just wish it was minus 115. I wish I would have got that little extra CLV. I'm just shyster here. I got minus 125. I gave it out. You could have bet that. But anyway, the reason why it's going to hit and he's going to have 5 or less assists is because the reason that they came back in the second half was moving Shai off ball, making him more of a scorer. He's averaging 4 assists in these finals combined. His potential assists, after being 15 plus, averaging 15.3, fourth in the league through the first 3 rounds, is now at 10.3. So it, on average, people make less than half of their potential assists when you kick it out for threes as much as Shai does, at least on the season. That's what his numbers are. He should be only averaging 4.5 assists based on the shot agnostic, whether it goes in or not data. And I think it's only moving more in that direction, with game four being his least amount of potential assists because he's off ball. So if the Thunder do great and they roll, I could win this bet because he might not play with a 9.5 point favorite. Not playing a lot of the fourth quarter because it's a 20-point game is not out of the realm of possibility at all. We saw it in game two. Or if the Pacers do better than I expect and it's more of a nip and tuck game and they're not hitting their threes, I feel like I'm a little bit covered because if Dort goes 5 for 5, I might lose this bet because a lot of those assists are going to be from Shai. If he goes 1 for 5, puts my cover in jeopardy, but I'm feeling better about the under 6.5 assists. So I think much likely that they both get there, and I think it's very unlikely that I go 0-2 here. So I like both of these bets as a nice little game 5 portfolio.
So let's get back to the Thunder, and I agree with that. I would take them first half, and I would take them full game as well. But we talk about a series when it's headed into game five, and it's tied 2 games apiece as we have here tonight between the Thunder and the Pacers. And this is not just NBA finals. This is for the overall playoffs.
Mhm.
Um, So those teams that are favored by 8 or more points at home in a series where they're tied 2 games apiece going into that game five, they're 20-2 straight up, 17-5 ATS. So that's
Nice.
77.3% covering for those teams that are favored by 8 or more points going into a game five that are a heavy favorite. So again, that just kind of backs up your point there. And
Yeah,
I'm sorry
but I
that
think it's a good tightener because if you're up
yeah,
3-1 and you're an 8 point favorite, yeah, you usually cover, but it's a much different situation. This is a much better situation as far as we're not going to mess around. It's
right,
2-2. We already know we can lose to this team,
yeah.
but we should, handle business.